Want to set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before November 1st to be considered for a January start. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
Coming up on the next KVNU Aggie Game Day, we get you all set as the Aggies hit the road and head to Albuquerque as Coach Bronco Mendenhall and the Aggies take on the New Mexico Lobos.
Love my team. They're resilient and they're tough and they believe in one another. They're united. They battle.
KVNU Aggie Game Day kicks off at 11 o'clock right here on 102.1 FM, 610 AM, and to Aggie fans worldwide at kvnutalk.com.
It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
And we welcome you to the show on a beautiful Saturday morning. If you were up early enough this morning, you enjoyed that gorgeous sunrise. The whole entire sky just lit up with some gorgeous color. I'm Will Feel-Right here in the KVNU studios, and joining me on the studio line this morning as he is out on a remote location. We'll say that. How about that? Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden. And Mark, how you doing this Saturday morning?
Doing great this morning. Doing great. So it is. It's a beautiful time of year to be out, and we've had an amazing fall with some nice moisture, which will really help our gardens and our trees and our shrubs. And it looks like we might get some more.
Yeah, definitely going to see some more. In fact, overall, record-breaking precipitation that we've had. And could we even see a little bit of snow coming Monday? Well, it's what's looking like could happen, according to the National Weather Service.
On the mountains, at least.
Yeah, we'll see. And so, but definitely we love the moisture. It's just a blessing. My lawn is just not looked this good. You almost just wish you could just hold on to this for at least a little bit longer because, the lawn's just really perked up again after the hot summer temperatures. And now, of course, we got to start focusing on prepping everything for winter.
For winter, yeah. And see, we've got a lot of people, a lot of homeowners coming in, and they're like, well, can I put my fertilizer on? I'm going to mow the lawn for the last time, and I'm going to be done. And that would be wishful thinking on their part. That would be amazing if we could just, do it right now and be done. But I like to hold that off a little bit and winterize between Halloween and Thanksgiving. And Halloween is next week. It's coming up, so we've got some fun things happening downtown as well too. So throughout the show, we'll talk about how to winterize your lawn and how to prep your garden for winter. Some things you can do for roses. It's a great time for planting bulbs and garlic as well too. So there's a lot of different topics we can cover, but. Today we've got some fun activities in the plaza and on Center Street as well, too.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, Logan Parks and Recreation kicking off the first Broomsticks and Boogie Witches Dance and Halloween Festival. Now, Logan Parks and Rec giving us kind of all of the details on this. It's going to be taking place tonight from 5 to 8 o'clock. And there's going to be food trucks set up around the plaza. They're going to have crafts for the kids. They're going to have live music from the band Haywire. And then also Anderson Seed and Garden is doing the Cemetery Scramble that's going to be taking place tonight from 5 to 8 o'clock. Plus there'll also be the Witches Dance, which of course is kind of the culmination of tonight. That'll be at 6:30, 7, and 7:30. And if you want to take the kids early down to the plaza, the witches will be out early to do pictures with the kids. So that'll be from about 5:30 to 6:15 tonight. because they got to get ready after that to start performing at 6:30. And then also 8 o'clock tonight at the Utah Theater, Monster House, a free movie at the theater. So, yeah, all sorts of things going on in downtown coming up tonight from 5 to 8 o'clock. It's going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, very cool. The Cemetery Scramble, there's a whole bunch of different businesses downtown that have got different activities for the kids to do. So there should be a lot of people running around downtown. And you can wear a costume or you don't have to. It's just set up to be fun for everyone to come and have a good time.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of trunk or treats that are going to be going on this afternoon. I know we're going to be involved with one out at Young Toyota and Young Honda tonight. That's from 6 to 8. So if people want to dress the kids up, there's a number of places that you can go. You know, stop by downtown Logan, head over to Young Toyota Honda, or go vice versa. Kids can have a chance to get a lot of candy and have a lot of fun and safe family fun coming up tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got the trick or treat downtown on Halloween as well too, and I think that's from 10 o'clock until 4.
Yeah.
On the 31st. So that's trick or treating downtown. So that should be fun too.
Yeah. Well, if we were talking about it last week, and if people didn't hear us mentioning it, today marks the final show of the season, as we'll be taking our fall and winter break after today's show. So if you've been waiting to put off calling in with a question, comment, wondering what to do with your lawn, what to do with your garden, there are a lot of things that we can talk about this morning, but we want to make sure that we have plenty of time for calls. So get those calls in. 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. And I think, Mark, you probably mentioned it, since it is one of the questions you're getting the most right now, is what is the best steps to get your lawn ready for winter?
Yeah, we are getting lots of questions on that. And, of course, as we move closer and closer to November, we like to do our winterization fertilizer between Halloween and Thanksgiving. I put it on as late as the 1st of December before as well, too, but sometime between Halloween and Thanksgiving. And usually we'll recommend you mow your lawn closer every time you mow it until you get that nice close mow as late as possible. So like drop it as low as you can, as late as possible in November. And then you won't have as much grass to clean up next spring. You won't have as much vole damage, and really preps your lawn and gets it ready for the winter. And then in the spring you have less work to do if you can get that really close mow done late November, even early December. I think last year we even had people out mowing their lawn on Christmas just to say they mowed their lawn on Christmas.
Yep.
Just to say they mowed it on Christmas. So that's unusual, but usually a Fertilome Winterizer, great way to winterize the lawn. We love that winterizer product. It's got a lot of slow release nitrogen in there, some iron to just gradually feed your lawn throughout the wintertime. And then fall's the best time to put Humate on as well too. So the Humate product also from Fertilome breaks down thatch, breaks down grass clippings, conditions your soil, naturally aerates your soil. It's a really great combination to put on your turf for fall to get it looking really good and to prepare it for winter so that next spring, as soon as the snow melts, it'll just be looking great. And it is still a good time to aerate. So you can still aerate your lawn as well too. And it's getting late enough into October. We probably will start counseling people to not plant grass seed if they want it to come up this year. Weather's going to change. It's going to get colder, and that grass seed is going to be less and less likely to germinate this fall. So we might be encouraging people to hold off until next year to do some planting. So.
Okay, well, just taking a call here, Mark, and we're going to go out to the phone lines. We've got Chris, who is holding on the line from Logan with questions about roses, which I know a lot of people have right now as we're heading towards the winter months. Chris, welcome to the show.
I didn't write down what you said to put on roses. Could you repeat what we need to do to winterize them?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we recommend you don't do much pruning in the fall until really, really late if you have to do any pruning at all, because whatever you prune off, you could have more damage happen throughout the winter. You're going to have to prune them again next spring. So I try not to prune much in the fall. And then for each rose, we recommend a quarter of a cup. So 1/4 cup of magnesium sulfate, of potash. Yep, mag sulfate. Yep, potash and sulfur.
Sulfur, okay.
Yep, and sulfur. So a 1/4 cup of each, and just sprinkle that on the ground around the roses, within 2 feet of the roses, and then water it afterwards. And then after you've watered that, then that's when we do our mulching. So we'll do leaves, or a combination of leaves and a little bit of grass clippings. But if you don't want to have to clean those up in the spring, just a nice compost would work really, really well. And we recommend probably 10 to 12 inches of that mulch in around the grafts of the roses to try and protect those through the wintertime. And really what it does is it keeps the cold from penetrating really quickly and leaving just as quickly as well, too. It's those drastic changes in temperature that really do a lot of damage to the roses. So once we get that 10 or 12 inches of mulch on the roses, then when we get snow, I'll take the snowblower and I'll blow more snow on top of the roses to try and even insulate them some more, so that they don't experience those drastic changes in temperature that we get sometimes in January and February, when it's 0 degrees, and then the next week it's like 50, and then it goes back to 0 again. That's when you really see the damage happen with the roses as well, too. So that's our rose cocktail. So a 1/4 cup of magnesium sulfate, 1/4 cup of potash, 1/4 cup of sulfur. Water that in, and away you go, Chris.
Okay, thanks.
You're so welcome. Good luck. How many roses have you got?
Oh, looks like she had just hung up,
we lost
Mark.
her. Okay.
So now, question though for you, Mark, if someone doesn't have potash around the house, because that's not usually something that people hold on to, do you have that cocktail all put together down at Anderson Seed and Garden, or if someone comes down to the store, can you kind of point them in the direction to where they can get all of those ingredients to put together that perfect mix?
Absolutely. So the muriate of potash comes in, used to come in 4-pound bags. I think they're like 3 1/4-pound bags now. And usually with a bag, you can do about, let's see, there's 2 cups, 1/4 cup, 8, about 32 roses with 1 bag. So it goes a long way. Same thing with the magnesium sulfate. And then we always have soil sulfur in stock as well, too. And the sulfur is not as critical to add to that combination, but what the sulfur does is it lowers the pH of your soil over the wintertime. And the roses do better in a pH that's closer to 6 than 7, 7.5, or 8, which is what ours is most of the time. So that extra sulfur will lower the pH, frees up a lot of other nutrient for the roses, and really, really helps throughout the growing season next year as well, too. So that's just an added ingredient that will really get your roses going again for next year.
Excellent. All right. Well, phone lines are open if you have a question or a comment for Mark for this final garden guide of the season. 435-753-KVNU is the phone number, 753-5868. Now, we were talking about some of the events that will be taking place around downtown Logan tonight for the Broomsticks and Boogie Witches Dance, but what's going to be happening at Anderson Seed and Garden today?
So today we've got the let's see, it is the cemetery scramble. That's what we've been talking about. So, yeah, took me a second to remember the name there. Cemetery scramble, a lot of fun activities, and I think we've got spooky bowling happening at Anderson's today. And so I saw what the team was putting together yesterday, and it looked like a blast. So it should be a lot of fun. And there's a whole bunch of different businesses that have activities happening throughout downtown. So it's kind of like a scavenger hunt, but with a lot of activities mixed in with it as well.
Excellent. Now, and also bulbs on sale right now. Is that right?
We do. We have bulbs on sale. Well, we've got our Bad Money bulbs going still. So if you've got Mad Money left over from our Mad Money sale, you can come in and use your Mad Money towards tulips or daffodils. So they've been very, very popular this year. But we still have a really great selection of hyacinths, crocus, daffodils, tulips, and now is the best time of year to plant. We get into the latter part of October, first part of November, and you can pretty much just dig your holes, drop your bulbs in there, add a little bit of fertilizer, work that into the soil down the bottom, put the bulbs in there, cover your bulbs up, water them, and you'll have a gorgeous display of flowers for next year. And so bulbs are about as easy as it gets when it comes to the work that you have to do, because basically all you have to do is dig a hole and put the bulbs in there and make sure they're well watered, and Mother Nature will provide everything else. So depending on how you plant the bulbs, you could have them starting to bloom in March and bloom all the way through the end of May by selecting different bulbs to plant. So your crocus are going to come on really, really quickly. So almost as soon as the snow melts, the crocus are in bloom. But then the hyacinths and the early daffodils start to bloom. Then it's the daffodils and the mid-season tulips, and then the late season tulips are blooming sometimes even until almost Memorial Day. And so you could get a nice 2-month display of flowers with something blooming all spring long if you plant it just right. So we do have some really nice bulbs that have come in, and we're selling them fast. And amaryllis bulbs showed up this week as well too. So we have a great selection of amaryllis bulbs. I think we've got about 20 different colors in stock right now, and those are mostly for enjoying indoors. We're not going to plant those outside, but we're going to enjoy those indoors as well too. So it's definitely fall at Anderson's. We do have a few trees and shrubs left. They're still at 65% off. If you're still looking for a few items to add to your garden or your landscape. So we do have a good sale going on still on trees and shrubs, as well as all the bulbs have come in. So, yeah, good time to come in.
Excellent. Well, phone lines are open at 435-753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. If you have a question for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden. And we're going to go back out to the phone lines, Mark. I believe it's Deanne who is joining us on the line with a question about raspberries. Go ahead.
I have a large row of raspberries, and they're just really puffy, and that, of course, they've stopped. Anyway, but do I cut them down, or what do I do for them with the winter?
So if they produce this fall, I'm assuming they produce this fall, and they're done producing, they would be an ever-bearing variety. Yeah. And there's two different ways you can prune those. So you can trim those right down to the ground this fall, and then you won't really have much of a you won't have much of a crop next summer, but then you'll get a nice heavy crop next fall. And so it kind of eliminates your summer production if you do that, but it does make it really easy to clean them up, and then you get a really heavy production in the fall off of all those new canes that come up next year. So you can trim them right down to the ground and just completely clean those out if you so desire. Otherwise, we usually tell people to trim them down to about 3 or 4 feet right now, and just kind of take the long gangly tops off, and just leave the canes. And then next spring, we're going to trim them down to about 2 to 3 feet, and then fertilize them at that point as well too. So you want to fertilize. I like to fertilize usually twice and sometimes even 3 times throughout the season, and I try and do it every time I prune. So when I prune in the springtime, I'll fertilize with a high nitrogen sulfur type fertilizer, like Iron Plus is great, and then add some extra chelated iron to help keep them green throughout the summertime. And then when you prune those canes back in the springtime and fertilize them, they'll bush out, and they'll produce a lot of new growth off of those old canes. And that new growth off the old canes will produce in the middle of the summertime. And then once those older canes that have produced twice now, once you've harvested that crop in the summer, then you'll cut those canes out right down to the ground, get rid of them, because they won't produce again. They'll be done. And so we remove those, and then the new canes that come up in the spring, they'll produce for you in the fall, so you can get 2 crops out of it that way. But I'll usually fertilize when I prune in the spring, and then I'll fertilize when I take those old canes out in the middle of the summer to try and encourage that good production during those two flowering and harvesting seasons.
Okay, so now I should prune them down.
If you want them to just produce in the fall, cut them down to the ground. If you want that summertime crop, then just prune off like the top, maybe third. Don't trim them down too far, but maybe leave them at 3 to 4 feet, and then you can prune a little bit more in the springtime.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your help.
Oh, you're so welcome. I hope your raspberries have been sensational this year.
Oh, they've been sensational. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a great weekend. And that clears up a phone line at 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. If you have a question for Mark Anderson here on the final show of the Garden Guide for this season. And Mark, talking about raspberries and getting raspberries ready, and we've talked about roses a little bit. What about fruit trees? Because a lot of us picking our final crops, pulling those apples off, and of course peaches and all of apricots, they were earlier on in the season. But now we need to get those fruit trees ready for winter. What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's still quite a few homeowners and orchard owners that are harvesting apples. We're starting to get some really cold temperatures, so it's probably time to get those in. Light frost won't damage your apples at all, but once we start getting into the mid-20s, it can damage that fruit. And so make sure and get that harvested and get that brought in so we don't damage the fruit. As we start having more and more leaves fall off the trees, which is really kind of happening right now, usually when the trees get to about 25 to 50% leaf drop, where 25 to 50% leaves have fallen off, that's when it's a really good time to try and control blister mites on apples and pears, various diseases that will winter over on those as well too. And then it's a great time of year to control like shot hole fungus, corinium blight, and bacterial bud blight on all your stone fruits as well too. So we try and really encourage this time of year a combination dormant spray. You could use a horticultural oil, or you can use just a good dormant spray, and then mix a fungicide in with it as well too. So fungicide 5, the copper soap, any type of fungicide with copper in it. F-stop from Fertilome would be excellent as well too. And mix those two together, and then spray your trees with it when the weather allows, while you're close to that 50% leaf drop. And what it will do is it will basically knock all the rest of the leaves off your trees, so it makes it easier to clean up, so you don't have leaves dropping for the next 2-3 weeks. But then the disease and oil combination will suffocate any insects or insect eggs that may winter over from this year till next year. It'll control blister mites so they don't transfer to your new leaf buds that are forming on the trees right now. And then it's going to control any type of disease that's lingering on your tree from the summertime as well too. So it's a really great way to try and stop some of these diseases early before they damage the leaves that are forming on the trees right now for next year. So those leaf buds are forming right now, and diseases and insects can transfer to those if we don't control them this time of year. So great time to do that dormant spray disease control combination on basically all your fruit trees, not just apples and pears, but for your stone fruits as well too. And it's very inexpensive and easy to do. We just need daytime temperatures to be above freezing so that you can make that application when it's a little bit warmer during the day.
Now, is there a certain length of time? Because I'm looking at, like, for example, today we're supposed to have temperatures in the mid-60s. That would be perfect for it, but we do have the possibility of rain tomorrow and into Monday. Would that be kind of a cause for concern, or would it be all right if you were to get it on first thing, this morning, earlier morning, as the temperatures come up, and then you'd be okay?
Really a perfect time to do that with the temperatures being in the 50s and 60s. It will have enough time to dry, usually about a half an hour to 60 minutes maybe. for it to dry. And then once it's dry, even if it rains, it's not going to wash it off and cause any problems. So today would be an excellent time to do it. And then next week after that storm clears out, it looks like we've got 50s during the day as well too. So we should be good. If you can't get it done today, should be good for a couple of weeks to be able to do that still.
Okay. All right. Well, phone lines are open at 753-5868. That's 753-KVNU. If you have a question, comment for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, we've got our bottom of the hour news break. We're going to take that just real quick and then be back to answer more of your calls. Got a lot left to talk about. We need to get to how to winterize your garden, of course, too. And there's a lot of exciting things happening downtown Logan this weekend and right around Anderson Seed and Garden. So we'll talk more about that coming up next here on The Garden Guide on KVNU. Minutes after the hour, and with your KVNU News headlines, I'm Will Theorite. A 21-year-old Logan man already on probation for drug possession charges has been arrested for allegedly trying to solicit a minor for naked pictures, according to law enforcement. Ken James Brower made an initial appearance Friday in Logan's First District Court. He was charged with criminal solicitation of a minor, a first-degree felony. Now, according to an affidavit of probable cause, agents with the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force received a cyber tip in April from a social networking app. Now, the company reported a user, later identified as Brower, had attempted to entice or solicit a minor. Now, law enforcement reviewed the account and found messages between Brower and a 17-year-old girl. Now, during the conversation, he offered to pay $75 for naked pictures of herself. Other messages showed him offering to pay older women for similar nude photos. Now, Logan City police officers questioned Brower about the messages. He reportedly would not answer any questions. He later invoked his right to an attorney, ending the questioning. Now, during Friday's court appearance, Brower was ordered to remain in jail and appear again in court October 27th. And Tyler Robinson, the man accused of shooting and killing political activist Charlie Kirk, appeared in court in person for the first time Friday as his defense argued for his right to appear without restraints or jail attire. Now, defense attorney Kathy Nestor filed the motion arguing that given the massive media attention, seeing Robinson in shackles and jail clothes would damage the presumption of innocence and make securing a fair trial more difficult. Well, we're going to see mostly clear skies for the first half of the weekend, then a chance of showers coming for the second half of the weekend, and even a possibility of rain and snow by Monday. Will Theorite, KVNU News.
Good morning, this is Judson Richards. World Series Game 1 in Toronto. Blue Jays hosting the Dodgers. Los Angeles struck first, but the Blue Jays offense, they didn't blink. In the sixth inning, Toronto held a 5-2 lead, and the bases were loaded for a pinch hitter named Addison Barger.
Well, Barger has been a big part of this team's success, and he's got monster power. The pitch. Swing, a high fly ball out towards right center field. On its way. It's a grand slam. Addison Barger. And the Blue Jays have blown it open. 9-2. Wow.
The call on ESPN Radio, John Shambi there, part of a 9-run sixth inning. Blue Jays led 11-2 until the seventh inning. Shohei Ohtani homered, but that would be all for the Dodgers. Blue Jays take game one resoundingly, 11-4 the final. Now to the NBA, where two expected contenders in the Western Conference met up in Los Angeles. Luka Doncic and the Lakers hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. Lakers leading by 16 in the fourth quarter. Doncic with his foot on the gas pedal.
Eaton cuts him off and then grabs the rebound. Got it to Rui, now to Luka. Lakers in no hurry. Here's Luka dribbling. Three-pointer by Luka. Good again. 45 for Luka. Timeout, Minnesota.
The call on 710 ESPN LA. Doncic scored 49 points and became the fourth player in NBA history to begin a season with back-to-back 40-point performances, leading the Lakers to a 128-110 victory over the Timberwolves. And the Trailblazers without head coach Chauncey Billups get a 20-point win over the Warriors. Miami Heat with no Terry Rozier take down the Grizzlies with a final of 146-114.
country needs.
This Saturday, join Cal Ranch in supporting our community in the fight against breast cancer during our Pink Bucket Sale. Saturday only, fill a big pink bucket and save 10 to 20% off nearly everything in our amazing store. Spend $40 and you get your big pink bucket free. Plus, Cal Ranch will donate $2 to local groups that support those impacted by breast cancer. Save 20% on our entire stock of apparel from names you know Cal Ranch trusts like Ariat, Wrangler, and Levi's. Saturday only, all our top quality work boots and footwear that you can fit in your bucket are discounted 20% off as well. Nearly everything in the rest of the store is 10% off. And if you can't make it into our store, visit calranch.com to save 10% site-wide.
Your local Cal Ranch, just what the country needs.
Save up to 20% this Saturday at Cal Ranch.
It's the Garden Guide on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
And KVNU News Time is now 8:35. And Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden joining myself, Will Feelright. As I'm in the studio, Mark is on a remote location enjoying some sunshine, and it's great to have you for this final show, Mark. This is it. We'll be taking our fall and winter break coming up after this week's show. So if you have a question for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, now is the time to call in. We've got phone lines open at 753-KVNU. That's 753-5868. Just remember the 435 area code. And Mark, a lot happening in Anderson Seed and Garden this weekend. You got bulbs on sale that have come in, and we got to talk about those amaryllis bulbs because those have become a fun family tradition for us during the holidays. And this year, you guys are doing something a little different with those amaryllis bulbs.
We are. So amaryllis bulbs are just so enjoyable to watch them bloom, before the holidays, during the holidays. A lot of our customers like them after the holidays in January and February, so they'll keep them a little bit longer so they could enjoy them throughout the harsh part of the winter time as well too. So we bring in the largest bulbs that we can get, and with amaryllis bulbs, the size of the bulb is directly related to the size of the flowers and the quantity of flowers that they produce. So our 34-centimeter bulbs will produce at least 2 flower stems with 4 to 6 flowers on each stem, and sometimes they'll produce a third. And our 40-centimeter bulbs will produce 3 flower stems with 4 to 6 flowers on each stem, and sometimes they'll produce a fourth. And so it's not unusual to get somewhere between 15 and 20 flowers on some of our jumbo bulbs, and that's over a month's time period as they bloom, because not all the flowers come out all at once. And so you can really have a great show indoors of flowers blooming throughout the holidays if you time it right. This year we've got some really cute gift bags that we've partnered with the amaryllis bulb. So you buy a potted amaryllis bulb, and you can buy just the bulb. You can get them potted, or you can get the bulb decorated as well too. So we'll put it in a nice pot and put foil for the holidays and a bow on there, make it look really good. But we've got gift bags for the bulbs as well too. So you buy a potted bulb and you get a really nice gift bag to give it away with if you so desire as well too. So a great combination there. And we do have a lot of great bulbs for planting outside. It's prime time for daffodils, prime time for tulips. Just remember, if you've got deer like I do at my house, you got to be careful with the tulips. We end up planting a lot of daffodils at the Anderson Ranch because the tulips just don't last very long.
Some make it and some don't.
Yep, that is exactly right, and most don't, unfortunately. I would love to plant more tulips. Maybe this year, since we've got our deer fencing a little bit more advanced and a little more difficult for the deer to get into, we might plant some out in the garden instead, just so we can have a few tulips to show off there in front of our garden. It might be nice, but we're strictly daffodil planters for the most part at the Andersons. So, but hyacinths and crocus, early bloomers. They smell beautiful. They smell great and they look beautiful. And now's the time to get those planted. And it's just so easy to plant bulbs. And you were mentioning just at the start of the second half of the hour that this is our last show for the year.
It is
crazy how quickly it goes by.
Yeah.
And you look at the calendar and you go, oh man, this is like the last Saturday in October.
Yeah.
I can't believe the show's over already.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, we'll talk a little bit about the holiday open house that's going to be taking place next month at Anderson Seed and Garden. We'll get to that. But first, got a couple calls, Mark. We're going to go back out to the phone lines. We've got D.A. joining us on the line from Logan with a question about lawn care. Go ahead. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for taking my call. Question I've got, a couple of questions, in fact. How late is too late to apply a broadleaf weed killer? And do you like a liquid versus a granular? I think there's much difference in the effectiveness of, granular weed and feed type of product.
You got it. The liquid this time of year will be more effective than the granular weed and feed. And some herbicides work better in cooler temperatures than others. So now that we're starting to experience a lot of 50-degree highs, there are herbicides that work really well, and weed-free zone is one of them. So Fertilome's weed-free zone will work in temperatures as low as 45 degrees. And so October and early November, we can get those temperatures consistently, and herbicide will work very, very well. And it works on morning glory and thistles and mallow and clover and dandelions. And doing an application of an herbicide in the fall is probably one of the most productive and effective times to really try and get your weeds under control. So yes, for sure. Today would be a great time to do it if you've got time. Next week, once that storm rolls through, you should have warm enough temperatures to really, really be effective at controlling your weeds. And then next spring, snow will melt, the grass will start to grow, and you won't have hardly a single weed out there if you can get that herbicide applied right now.
So you're saying wait till this weekend's storm passes ideally, before to apply then?
You could definitely do it today if you've got an hour from when you spray to when it rains. That would be enough time for it to be absorbed in, especially with the weed-free zone. It works very quickly. Ultimately, 2 to 4 hours after application is best. That would give it plenty of time to start to react before getting washed off. But today would be great. Otherwise, you can wait till after the storm comes through, and I think you've still got a week or two to be able to do that.
Does the weed-free zone, does it have 2,4-D in it, offhand?
It does. It has 2,4-D, dicamba, MCPP, and carfentrazone in it. And that combination of the 4 herbicides works much, much better and more effectively in cooler temperatures than just the 2,4-D by itself.
Appreciate your help today and appreciate your show each week. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for calling in.
You too. Bye now.
All right. Well, Mark, hold right there. We're going to stay on the phone lines as we have Curtis, who is joining us on the line. And Curtis is from out in Clarkston. Welcome to the show, Curtis.
Good morning. Beautiful sunrise. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. But
yes, we did. It was gorgeous.
Yep.
Well, I'll start out giving a Gordon report. How's that?
That works.
Well, they did drain the dam right out. You could see the outlet earlier on, and it's slowly coming up, a good stream going into it, and you can still see the outlet, but it's above it now. So anyway, so there's our chance to honor Gordon for your last program.
Yep. And fill that reservoir up for next year, so we got some water to use.
Yeah. Let's get the snow in the mountains, rain in the valleys. Good with me, but
yeah,
what we can get.
That would be lovely.
Doing some transplanting, going to use your kangaroos and Bigfoot. But my question, started a new garden spot, turning my yard into 55 and older, trying to anyway. But the old garden, and starting a new small one. It's only about 15 feet square. I've had lilacs there and some grass, but I got it pretty well tilled. But I'm just wondering, because I feel a few leaves and grass into it and maybe some straw. Fertilizer, I got 1616 and I got the 4600. Just trying to break some of that down. I got some mulch too, but is there other stuff I need to add in there as I till out, get ready for, I want to plant some radishes and things, early spring gardens, what I'm going to try and prep for.
Got it.
What's our best thing to put in there when I'm tilling?
So about an inch to 2 inches of leaves and grass clippings would be great. Another additional ½ inch to an inch of straw would be sensational. If you want to put some sort of compost out there, you can do steer compost if it's really well composted, or poultry. And then compost that's coming from Logan landfill is really, really good right now, since they've been putting the biosolids in there from the wastewater treatment facility. It's a lot higher in nitrogen and very balanced. So that's been a great product and very inexpensive as well too. So try and shoot for somewhere between 3 and 4 inches of various materials. So a nice variety. I would put some humic on to help increase your microbes to break those down faster. And then the 4500, if you're using the urea, that would work great. You only need about 2 to 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet, and that would be sensational and save your 1616 for next spring.
Okay, all right. Little peat moss, I got a bag of that sitting here. But
yeah,
that helped to fill that in.
Great.
Okay,
that'd be great.
All right.
Just a wide variety of different materials, Curtis, is best. If you end up doing too much of any one thing, it can cause problems. But if you do a ½ an inch of 3 or 4 or 5 different materials, they tend to balance each other out a lot better. So you're better off doing a variety, a multitude of materials instead of just a lot of one.
Okay, well, I hope to have it by the end of the week and next week, ready for radishes next spring. So anyway.
Perfect.
Good luck with that, Curtis.
I'll have to get in and see your beautiful trees when we get closer to Christmas. So looking forward to that
for the holidays. Oh, sounds great.
Okay,
hey, thanks for calling this morning, Curtis.
You bet.
And we still have time to take more calls, 435-753-KVNU. That's 753-5868. We have Kathy, who is joining us on the line from Dayton. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Good morning. I have a lilac bush that has the leaves have like a white film on them. Is that? I've also got plum trees that have fungus on them. So I'm wondering, is it the same thing?
It could be. Without seeing it, I would suspect it is a powdery mildew or a downy mildew of some sort. Not uncommon for that to be on the lilacs. And this time of year where we're getting a lot higher humidity, it can spread to trees. It can be on your lawn. It could definitely be coming from squashes, melons, cucumbers left over out in the garden that haven't frozen. We're seeing a lot of mildew showing up the last month. So if you do that combination spray for your fruit trees with the disease control, so you could do like fungicide 5, the copper soap, anything with any disease control with copper, and it would be great. The F-stop would be excellent. Mix your dormant oil or your horticultural oil in it. Mix those together, and then spray your fruit trees. Knock those leaves off, spray the trees down, and then definitely you could do your lilacs at the same time. So any type of deciduous tree or shrub, it would be just fine to go ahead and do that, and you can control diseases or insects that may be inclined to winter over for next year. So really good way to do that and try and prevent that from showing up again first thing next spring.
Okay, now I have some copper, what is it called? Copper, it's got a name on it. Copper fungicide. Yeah, someplace. Copper fungicide, but I don't know how old it is.
Oh, it should be great. Most of those fungicides, especially with the copper, they're very stable. They'll be good for 4 or 5 years without too much trouble, and they don't freeze really easily either. So I think you would probably be in great shape.
Okie doke. I will go out and have a fun day spraying. Thank you so much.
Enjoy that weather, Kathy.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.
435-753-5868. During the last 10 minutes of the show, if you have a question for Mark Anderson of Anderson Seed and Garden, this is your chance to call in, as this is the last show of the season before we'll be back next spring. And Mark, we were talking about prepping your fruit trees. We were also mentioning about taking care of roses and raspberries. We've covered a lot here during this final show. But also one of the other questions we get a lot this time of year is, a lot of us have pulled squashes and onions and potatoes, and probably most of those were just picked in the last couple of weeks. Is there a way to be able to store those vegetables efficiently so that they don't spoil so quickly while they're in storage?
Yeah. So I pulled all mine last week, and so I cut all my squash and pumpkins. So there was a little bit of stem left on the fruit. So left the stem about 3 to 4 inches long, longer if I could, shorter if I had to, and then gathered those all up and I put them in a warm, dry, dark location to just cure for a few weeks. So as the temperatures start to get colder, it's going to get cooler in that location. And eventually they could freeze. And so probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks, they will have had enough time in that warm, dry location to develop that hard outer skin on them. And once that hard outer skin is developed on those squash, they're going to keep a lot better. And that's when I transfer them from the warm, dry location to a cool and dry and dark location, preferably in the basement or in your cellar where you can keep those. And then they'll keep longer that way. So last year, I think we ate our last squash in like April, and I think they held up really, really well. So if there's any damage on the fruits, if they get scraped or scuffed or dropped or bumped, those are the ones you should use first. And the ones that look perfect, they're the ones that you should let stick around a little bit longer, because they're going to last longer if they don't have any blemishes or damage on the skin. The more intact the skin is, the longer they're going to last, the better they're going to store. So.
All right. Well, let's go back out to the phone line. We have Marilyn on the line with a question about trees. Go ahead, Marilyn. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, and good morning to you, gentlemen. I appreciate this program. I
Thank you.
Love to listen to it. We've had a problem with our quaking aspen. We have a whole row of them. They're now 20 years old, and some people have said, well, they're just old. They're just dying. But there's a problem. Kind of all summer long, we've seen little branches here and there with leaves that have died and are just still hanging on the trees. And we've trimmed those out. And basically, people have said, well, they're just going to die. And I had that same feeling when I looked at my decorative crabapple trees a few years ago, and they had that fire blight in them. And I thought, we just have to just cut these trees down. They're looking terrible. They're so sick. And no, we didn't, because there was treatment for them. And this past year, that's been like, and these trees were just absolutely beautiful. No problems at all. And I think, Ken, is that a possibility that there's something like that happening in the quaking aspen, that if you treat them?
The aspen are very prone to a couple different problems, and one is a disease that's called aspen leaf spot. And the aspen leaf spot gets into like all the poplar family, but especially affects quaking aspen. And so then you'll get leaves that will start to discolor early through the summertime. They'll start to turn brown and look like they're dying, and they'll fall off. Sometimes it'll completely defoliate your tree, and a lot of it has to do with weather conditions first in the spring. But the wetter and cooler it is, longer into May and even into June, the more likely you are to get the aspen leaf spot. But that can be controlled, and you can do that with a spray on the trees right after the leaves come out. So usually between Mother's Day and Memorial Day is when we'll kind of shoot for controlling the aspen leaf spot. And, F-stop's really good. There's some very good systemic fungicide sprays you can use that will really stop that from affecting your trees for the entire season if you put it on at the right time. The other issue that quakies have is they're susceptible to borer. And so there's an insect that will get into the trees and will really do a lot of damage, affects its circulatory system. So then branches will just start to die off because they're not getting the water and the nutrient that they need. So quakies do tend to be fairly problematic because those are two serious problems that they get nearly on a yearly basis. So if you really want your quakies to look good, first thing in the spring, we would do a systemic insecticide drench on them. We just mix it up in water and water your trees with it. They'll pick it up through the root system, and it will control borer from the inside out. So you don't have to spray them consistently throughout the summertime. Just the one application will do it, and then just really one, maybe two applications of the fungicide at the right time, and your quakies will be really healthy and good again. It's just something you got to almost do on a yearly basis to try and prevent it from happening before it does. But if they're infected with borer or they've got aspen leaf spot, we can get them under control and get your trees looking good again.
And so that is something we start looking into end of March, first part of April. Or
right.
We're kind of on the mountainside, so we're a little slower, I think, than
yeah.
down
As
in
soon
the
as your
valley.
as soon as your snow melts in the springtime, you can do that, and that's usually sometime between St. Patrick's and Easter is a really good target time to try and do that. And then plan on spraying the trees right after the leaves come out between Mother's Day and Memorial Day, and I'll bet we can get most of those problems cleared up for you.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds so good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the
you're
call,
welcome.
Marilyn. Really appreciate it. And that's going to pretty much wrap up the show. Mark, we have just a couple more minutes left. Now, in regards to spraying trees, as Marilyn and also Kathy were talking about, Kathy mentioned copper soap spraying to try to treat diseases. Is it bad to maybe treat the other trees that may not be showing signs of infection, but may also still have some traces of disease?
Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and it just depends on the type of tree. So that's why we like to kind of blanket all the fruit trees, because what you're doing for your apples and your pears will more than likely work just as well for your stone fruits. But when it comes to, say, quakies, completely different set of diseases and insects that are after those compared to your fruit trees. So, but as I mentioned earlier, any tree or shrub that drops its leaves in the fall is a deciduous tree or shrub, and the dormant spray with the fungicide, it would never hurt to apply that on those trees, because there's always insects and there's always diseases that want to winter over and start to become problematic again for next year. So it just gives you a nice, good, clean start for the next growing season. So that would definitely not hurt at all.
Okay, excellent. Well, Mark, as we come to the end of the show, I know it's crazy to think how fast the year has gone by, and I guess before we know it, we'll be back in the spring. And so in the meantime, of course, you can always check out a podcast of this season's shows by going to kvnutalk.com and AndersonSeedandGarden.com. And is it too early yet to mention the holiday open house that'll be coming up next month?
Not at all. We've got the store almost fully decorated, and we try and shoot for around Halloween, 1st of November, to have the store fully decorated. And our Christmas open house is coming up the 19th through the 22nd of November. We've got some great sales and specials going on then. And then we also have some really great things happening for Thanksgiving weekend as well, too, for Black Friday and Saturday. Small Business Saturday on Saturday, holiday celebration, Twinkle Light Parade, fireworks, Santa, all that fun stuff happening on the 29th of November this year. Yeah, so plan on seeing some really fun activities happening downtown in the next month or so as we move into the holidays. And it is becoming a winter wonderland at Anderson's as well. So
it'll be here before we know it. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Mark. Thank you so much for helping us do the Garden Guide each week here on KVNU. And we look forward to having you back next spring, as it's now 9 o'clock here on KVNU Logan.